So just really invite you to settle in on your back, feet standing on the mat, knees pointed at the ceiling. In this posture, there is the sweet spot where your body doesn't have to work at all. So if the feet are too close, we're going to be kicking our abdominals into action. Feet are too far away, it's going to be the quadriceps, it's going to be the thigh muscles. So finding that sweet spot can be as simple as lifting the feet off of both feet off the floor and then just letting them come back to the mat. That'll show you what your resting posture probably is. And so we bring our attention to our breath, just noticing the breath as it moves in and out of the body, arriving in this moment. Bringing the attention to the feet as they stand on the mat. Noticing where your feet are weighted. Do both feet feel equally weighted? Maybe you're more aware of one foot than the other. And notice where the weight resides. Instep, the outer edge of the foot, the heel, the ball mound, or maybe it's balanced. Then bringing the attention, the scan up to the pelvis. And just notice the weight of the pelvis. Relax here and feel as if you can really let go and the earth will support you. Notice the curve in the waist. Is there space? Is it flat? Nothing to do, simply notice. Shoulder blades. Is one more clearly felt than the other? There's a curve behind the neck. And then the weight of the head as it rests on the floor. We're going to start with a few pelvic tilts just to warm up the low back. And then we're going to be using our strap. So having the strap near your hand would be helpful. So with the pelvic tilts, we roll down toward the tailbone. And then we roll up, flattening the waist, the head tips away. When we roll down, the chin comes toward the heart. When we press back, the chin tilts backward. You might notice as you're doing pelvic tilts that there is a push and a pull in the feet. See if you can feel which direction pushes, which direction pulls. Just noticing and rocking the pelvis. Then we're going to pause. We're going to take our strap and we're going to loop it over the left foot, bringing it over the arch of the foot. Slide the hands all the way down so the elbows can rest on the floor if your strap is long enough. So there's no strain in the shoulders. We got a flexed foot. So the heel is pressing toward the ceiling, toes coming toward the knee. Do a little bend in the knee to make this comfortable. So it's not about getting the foot vertical, the leg vertical. It's about finding ease here. And this helps the hip. So now we're going to turn the foot out. So we're turning the foot, it's the left foot turning to the left. Pause here. Keep that little bend in the knee so this is more easily done. And then we come back to center and now turn the foot in toward the center line of the body. You might notice that turning it inward, there's less of an angle than when you turn it out. Then we come back to center. Bend that left knee deeply. And we're going to draw the right foot up into the strap. We're going to release that left foot to the floor. You can keep the knee bent, or you can elongate the leg and bring it all the way down to the floor. We're going to keep that foot, the left foot, standing though. And now we come to the right foot. Find that little bend in the knee. The heel presses to the ceiling, the toes press toward the knee. We pause and breathe. And then we slowly turn the right foot toward the right side. So the heel's coming toward the center of the body. The toes are pointing away from the body. Pause here and breathe. You might feel this all the way up into the glutes. That spot that it lands in is, for most of us, will be the piriformis, which is a tight, piriformis is a tight little muscle that likes to contract and pinch the sciatic nerve. No one likes that, so we're giving it a little love today. Now we're going to turn that foot inward. Keep that micro bend in the knee, a little soft knee. And the foot's turning toward the center of the body. You might notice that one foot turns in more easily than the other. Our bodies are seemingly symmetrical, but usually not really. We're coming back to center with that foot. We're going to remove the strap and we're going to release this foot to the floor. You can do it with a bent leg or you can do it with a long leg. And then the feet come back to standing on the mat. And we pause here, palms down. And we just notice how our body rests on the mat now. So we're going to go through our flow pattern. So we're preparing to move. And we're going to float the arms up, palms facing. On the in-breath, we touch down above the head. On the out-breath, we gather the knees. The in-breath takes the feet toward the ceiling. Keep the knees soft as needed. Extend the arms above the head. And then on the out-breath, we're going to gather those knees again. Lift the head slightly to look between the legs. And then we return to the mat. This time when we go through that, when we come to lifting the head, lift the head maybe only an inch off of the floor so there's no strain. You can play with that as we go through this a few times, seeing what feels best. Because when we're lifting up, do this with me. Place your hands in front of the shoulders and then just lift up. Notice what's moving here to lift. So it's not craning the neck. See if we can connect with the rib cage and lift from there to lift the head. So we're going to come back to our flow pattern now, and we're only going to lift the head a little bit this time. So floating the arms up, palms facing. The in-breath is a touchdown. The out-breath gathers the knees to the chest, to the heart. The in-breath, feet to the sky, touchdown arms. And now we're going to gather the knees in, lift the head just 1 inch off the floor, and then release to the mat. So when we lift just 1 inch, we're probably going to be using our neck. This time around, we're going to see if we can engage that lift from the rib cage. Okay, arms float up on the in-breath. On the out-breath, we touch down above the head. The in-breath gathers the knees. That's the out-breath, excuse me. This is the in-breath. Extend arms and feet. And now we're going to gather the knees, press into the rib cage to lift the head. See if that's easier on the neck. And then we come back to the mat. We'll do that one more time, engaging the rib cage, floating the arms up. On the in-breath, we touch down. The out-breath is a gathering of the knees. The in-breath takes the feet to the sky, touch down arms. And gathering the knees, press into the rib cage to lift the head. And then we come back to the mat. Pause here, palms down. Breathe. And now we're going to prepare to do a little cross body work. We're going to take the right hand, bring it behind the head. We're going to be guiding the left leg with the left hand. And we're going to feel our way into the rib cage, using the hand to lift the head, but also seeing if we can notice the rib cage as we lift. Breathe in. And on the out breath, we're going to guide the left leg toward the right elbow, turning the head, coming back to the mat. So we're really focusing here on feeling the rib cage. Breathe in. And then on the out breath, press the low back and lift the leg, guide across the body. Come back to the mat. We're going to do that 2 more times. And in this practice, in this posture, it's not about getting the elbow to the knee. We're focusing on being able to feel, come on, lift, feel the rib cage. There's a turn there, isn't there? And come on back down. And we'll do that 1 more time. We're focusing on the rib cage. Breathe in. And on the out breath, press the low back in, cross body. And then we come back to the mat. Release the hand and switch sides. Left hand underneath the skull. Right hand is going to be guiding the right leg. Breathe in, and on the out breath, press the low back to lift and notice the rib cage. Back to the floor, back to the mat. Breathe in. On the out breath, guide the leg and the elbow toward each other, and maybe notice the differences between the right and the left side. There might be more flexibility here. Press into the low back to lift. You might notice more cooperation in the body on one side than the other. 1 more time, breathe in. And on the out breath, press the low back into the mat to cross the body. And then we're going to come back to rest on the floor. Those were asymmetrical postures. So to balance our body out, breathe in, and then on the out breath, press into the low back to draw both legs into the heart and roll a little bit right and left. So we come into a symmetrical action, roll up and down a little bit. Then we're gently going to come to one side and come onto hands and knees. Now, if your knees do not want to be knelt on, stay on the back. We're going to be doing some cross body ab work. So we'll stay on the back and just cross like this, okay? Otherwise, we're going to be on hands and knees. And yeah, you can bring padding under the knees as needed. This is called Parsvabalasana. It's a variation on child's pose. So when we get here, imagine turning the upper arms toward each other. So the elbows are going to rotate a little bit out. Nice, long, strong arms. This keeps the shoulders from being pinched. We're going to extend the right leg, hip height if you have it. If that doesn't work, bring your toes back. We're going to lift. Now we're going to extend the other arm, the left hand, to the sky to find balance. The thumb travels toward the ceiling. If this is too much, just focus on the leg. If you're on your back, you're just going right and left. We're doing ab work here. Breathe in to lift that opposite hand if that's what you're doing. Keep that back leg nice, long, and strong. We're going to breathe a few more breath cycles here. And then we release to the mat. We're going to switch sides. Now it's the right hand and the left leg. So again, the left leg can be long and strong or lifted hip height. Extend the right hand. Maybe the right hand comes just in front of to the tip of the mat, but still stays on the mat. We're here for about 3 breaths. Draw the belly up and in. And then when we're done, we're going to sink back into child's pose. So the hips come toward the heels, any amount, or if you're on your back, the knees draw into the heart. I have a helper here. We're going to come forward onto our knees, onto the tops of the knees. And we're going to bring our elbows to the mat. He loves it when yoga's on the floor. Maybe you want to come up off of the floor. We're doing elbow plank. Tell me you love me. Here we are. And maybe you're on your knees. But we're here for a few breath cycles. And then we lower to the mat. Make a hand pillow. Rock the knees right and left. And now we're going to float the hands back next to the pelvis. We're going to keep the hands flat on the mat. We draw the insteps of the feet together. We press into the tops of the feet, into the pubic bone, lift the head, the heart. We're in baby cobra, hands stay on the mat. And then release back to the mat. We're going to do that one more time. Press into the tops of the feet. Press into the pubic bone. Lift the head, the heart, press into the hands. 3 breaths. And then we come back to the mat, rocking right and left. And then we're going to come back onto our backs. So roll over Make your way onto your back, have both blocks nearby. Pause in constructive rest for a touch, just a little bit. Maybe notice your feet, your pelvis, or your shoulders. Just noticing if anything is shifted. Maybe something that was unclear, part of the body is more clear now. Then we're going to take a block and we're going to put it on the middle height. So this is the long, this is the short, middle. So we're going to turn it sideways like this. We're going to put it between the thighs. So we squeeze the block. We did some of this recently. Squeeze the block and notice how the inner thigh muscles engage. That's the action for building bridge. Bridge is scooting the feet back toward the pelvis. I like to invite you to robot arms. Then we press up, squeeze the block, and then we release down. We're going to do that with a support now. We're going to take this block, we're going to press ourselves up, and then scoot this block right under our pelvis. We've done this for our psoas work. Now we're doing it for supported bridge. We pause here. Now squeeze the block that is between the legs for about 3 breath cycles. And then relax, keeping the block where it is. We're going to press the block again. Squeeze, 3 breaths. And relax. This time when we're squeezing the block, the invitation is to see if we can engage the lower abdominal muscles with our breath. The transverse abdomini, this really low one, that's right down near the pubic bone below the belly button. We're going to breathe as we squeeze and engage that muscle group. And then we relax. And let's take that block out. Keep the block underneath the pelvis. Bring the knees up so that they're right above the hip joint. And just rest here. This should feel pretty good. If it doesn't, just bring your feet to the floor. And keep breathing. And then we're going to bring the feet back to the mat. To come out of this, we're going to rise up through bridge. So walk your feet a little closer to your glutes, heels down. See if we can remember to press into the inner edges of the feet. We're going to do robot arms. And we press ourselves up. We're going to pause here for 3 breaths while we remove that block. This is the Cirque du Soleil portion of our practice today. Multitasking, breathing, pressing into the inner edge of the feet. And then we slowly lower the spine, one section at a time, back to the mat. When we find our way, all the way onto the mat, gently rock right and left. Let the head follow the rock. Let the spine feel the whole action of rocking. Legs to the right, head to the right, legs to the left, head to the left. And then we're going to pause here. Do a body scan. We start with the soles of the feet, noticing how the feet feel weighted now, right and left. Scanning up the body, coming to the pelvis. Notice where the waist is and maybe how that's changed since we started the practice. Come to the shoulders, the back of the neck, and how the head rests now. We're going to take both hands, interlace them behind the head. On the in-breath, we lift the waist. And the out-breath, we flatten the waist as we draw the head up. Elbows come toward each other. And then open wide on the next in-breath to let ourselves back to the mat. We'll do that 2 more times. Lifting the waist on the in-breath, flattening the waist on the out-breath. Lift the head, elbows come toward each other. Notice the rib cage. Release back on the in-breath. And 1 more time. Flatten the waist to lift. Maybe notice the rib cage now. Coming back to the floor. Arms release. And we'll enter our time of Shavasana, our final resting posture. So maybe constructive rest feels good. Maybe you want to elongate the legs, let the feet fall open. You do what feels best for your body today. Iyengar, a master yoga teacher who wrote the book on yoga for the Western world, Light on Yoga. Today's quote is from Iyengar. Yoga does not transform the way we see things. It transforms the person who sees. It transforms the person who sees. Gently begin to deepen your breath. And draw your feet to standing if they're not already there. Roll to one side. And find your way to seated. And we open our arms wide to gather all the blessings that already exist, and we draw them in appreciation and gratitude into our hearts. And together, we all say, Namaste. So you may have noticed we did a lot of ab work today. You might have noticed that. And so good work. Yay.
Yay.
So helpful to do the core work.
Yes.
Hi, Leslie. Good to see you today. So anybody have anything they'd like to say before they ring off, or anything you noticed in your body that was different, or, and you're welcome, anything that was different, or is there more delight, more ease? Was anything a challenge? If you'd like to share, I'd love to hear.
My back is happier.
Yeah, great. I love that your back is happier, because I know that what I do know, and we'll do more core work going forward, having a strong abdominal area helps to strengthen the back. So low back is often related to having less strength here, but it's not about doing crunches. It's about finding other ways into the deeper abdominal muscles that aren't necessarily the beauty muscles that we're used to seeing in the six-pack ab commercials. There's some deeper muscles that want to be engaged. In addition to that, and I've shared this before, I know some of you who do King City and Mount Scott have heard me say this. One of the things that they're discovering about people that do incredibly strong core work, it can actually impinge the breathing apparatus. It can impinge the diaphragmatic area. And so really, really incredibly built beauty muscles, the ones that they show on the posters, often can cause a person to stay in fight or flight because no deep breath is available. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
So those of you who are wandering around going, oh, I wish I had six-pack abs. No, you don't. You want to have a strong core, but you don't want the armor, because you want to be able to breathe and have calm and peace.
Hear, hear.
Yeah. So all of us who have mom and dad bodies, yeah, we could still be strong, but we won't look like the poster child for six-pack abs. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but as aspirations go, wouldn't it be better to find a way to be strong and at peace? I want to thank you for your practice today. And if you ever have any questions or concerns, absolutely, you can send them. I know that Sarah will receive them. If you get my emails, which I send out once a month, you can always respond to me there if you have concerns or considerations or anything you'd like to explore while we roll around on the floor or on the bed. Okay?
All right.
Thank you for your practice. I'll be here on Wednesday, and we're going to be doing some sun salutes on the chair on Wednesday, just to celebrate the season.
All right. Hey.
Yeah, Janine, we're going to get a little busy and maybe a little sweaty again.
All right. Hey.
All right. Love y'all. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.